So keep your heads. Don't go nuts. Help each other out. You got to help each other out if you know people in the same boat as yourselves. And don't just sit and watch that TV until it terrifies you. It's the greatest tool for terrorizing. You're looking at a system where the media has been lying to you for your whole life about most things. And suddenly they've got you all glued to it. Huh? And they're making stars, supposedly, of doctors that say, wash your hands, cough up your sleeve, don't go closer than 6 feet to anybody, stay in your homes. Making stars out of them, because they'll give little jokes for them to quip on, probably written by writers groups, you see. Everybody out there is PR, public relations, which is the new term they gave for propaganda. It used to be called just basic propaganda. They changed it in Bernays after day to public relations. And public relations, every organization out there, for corporate businesses, for the police, for everything, has public relations. People who will bend all truths or all questions and give you odd answers to anything you ask, but never straight answers on anything. That's their job. But they're making the stars now. There you go. So keep your heads. Don't be drinking yourselves to deaths in your homes, and then you'll be battling each other. Again, after they announced, you got to make sure you got to keep beer flowing, and you got to keep the drugs going, and the cannabis at home. The police are expecting more domestic violence. I wonder why. You're all going to get shut up for months, maybe. Don't forget, they said at the beginning of this might be like the last big flu one. It might literally go all through this year and into next year. This is what they're hoping for. That's what I see anyway. Because do you realize the money that's getting tossed out there that's never going to be accounted for by the ones who are receiving it? The big corporate ones. So give us this, we might find ways to do this. And massive, millions were given. Millions. Maybe billions, actually. To all the mind managers, all behaviorists. And they've got sites out there telling you about it. From their own sites. And how they're going to help manage you. And tell you what. They even had stuff on, if you're at home, how often to masturbate, for God's sake. I wonder how much they got to put that article out there. Bertrand Russell said, we'd bring in a world, he says, where the people will be unable to think for themselves. They'll be guided by experts for every simple thing, until they can't do anything simply by themselves, without the expert. And bingo, we're here, eh? Bingo. So when you're really feeling bad, listen to some good music. And remember, eventually, one way or another, this will eventually be over. If you can help each other and you have your little pal, a little group of pals, do help each other. Take precautions if you deliver food to each other and so on. And you don't have to go inside their houses. You have to agree with that, and keep each other safe. And for those that can't get to town to do any shopping at all, maybe you arrange for them to do it for them, or things like this, simple things. That's how you get. Don't look to government to help you. It's just the corporations that can look to government and expect to help, and certain big political organizations and such. But for yourselves, you have each other. And do your best. Keep safe. It's awfully important you keep safe. But you'll get through it. We'll come through this. Again, if they have their way, it'll be a different system again. And whatever laws they've slapped on with emergency powers will not be taken off, especially to do with whatever privacy was left. And you will have to eventually probably get made to go for, they'll try and make you go for your little chip in the arm and so on eventually. They really want to do that, and it's there. It's no conspiracy theories. MIT's involved in it with the Gates Foundation. And as I say, it's up to you to eventually come out of this and say, no way, get lost. Because where they're taking it with this and because of this is just the same agenda. They're taking it along the same route into totalitarianism. And they've already told you in the last big meeting for the climate change group and the WEF, World Economic Forum, that the people are not listening to our demands of what they must change their behaviour and so on. There'll be austerity and yada yada yada. He says, and we'll have to take next steps to try and force them not to continue the way they're with consumerism. And they're also talking about it might even come down to it's time now to decide who should have children and should they have children. This is an old agenda. There had books out in the 1920s about this. They never gave up because these foundations are eternal. They don't stop. They go on for centuries with their agendas. But again, they always say this too shall pass, the worst of it shall pass. And it's up to people then to demand their rights afterwards and demand inquiries into why a lot of people were not treated with the right medications and so on. And lawsuits must start flying now. That, and get at the politicians too, who allowed all this kind of thing to happen because they didn't do the quarantining right off the bat. And they didn't tell the people that they had certain treatments which you could certainly give them. And again, more lawsuits for the politicians that held back the treatments because they wanted their own pals and the different pharma companies to get the contracts once they had their versions of whatever happened to be drugs on the market. So that's what you got to do. That this is disgusting what's happening right now. Absolutely. Everyone is locked down, and we've been locked down for a while now. Well, international aircraft still come and go. What's going on here? We're all locked down while they bring more and more in. And if they had done quarantine to begin with, literally, you wouldn't have the lockdown. There was no excuse for the lockdown. So I think that's why they kept bringing them people in. Obviously, it's like getting a loading dose enough. And okay, that's fine. Now we've reached the loading dose, and now we'll quarantine the people. We've got to stop thinking they're just stupid at the top. We've got to stop doing it. But as I say. The money has been. Do you realise it's all get paid back by the people, the taxpayers? All these trillions of dollars, and there's no follow up to see if folk come up with vaccines or whatever. It's just astonishing what's happening. But anyway, as I say, remember, folks, I'll put up the whole talk at cuttingthroughmatrix.com, and I might split it into two again in case folk want to have this part one, part two. I don't know just yet. Remember, you can send a few bucks my way, hopefully, at cuttingthroughthematrix.com website. And you can use PayPal. You can also send cash if you want to. You still take cash. That can be washed and laundered, believe you me, without ruining the money. And the mail is still going. Although they say it may be a bit slower, But the actual letter mail is still going for the time being. And folk are still accepting cash in the stores. They don't like it so much, what they're told. But again, another part of the agenda is to eliminate cash, as you know. But as long as folks still keep using it, it makes it a bit harder for them just to drop it. So don't get crazy. Don't drink yourself into the boondocks, basically, and don't drug yourself into it either. Listen to some good music or watch some movies that you've got saved by there that are a bit more uplifting, and stop looking at the daily hype by the same faces that are supposedly be specialists and that. And it reminds me, they made Greenspan a star too, the man who used to come out, this little fella that would come out and everybody hushed, and they would actually announce on TV he's coming out to speak, and everybody's hushed, and he would just talk about the stock market. All he would say is, cool it, Probably written by his team behind him, you know, for Hollywood effect. Cool it. Mean the stock market. And he'd walk away again. Then it'd go over, but oh my God, the genius has spoken. He said, cool it, wow, you know. The genius. The man who literally didn't believe that anything was real. There's a kind of religion he was going through at the time. It was a big fad. Well, that nothing was real. Everything you saw was brought into you through senses into your brain. So even if your senses were wrong, who's to say you even had senses? Because everything's happening inside your brain. It's all getting made up inside your brain. He did an interview about that before they made him Federal Reserve head. And he says, no, he says to the guy, he said, how do you know that anything's real? How do I know? He says, that even you're real, he said to the interviewer. And that's why they made him the chairman of the Federal Reserve, because he looked at all the debt and it wasn't real either. There you go. From myself, Alan Watt from Ontario, Canada, it's good night. May your God or your gods go with you.